What's going on, everybody? I am your co-host, Rob Mann, and I have opinions about Raymond's attire today.
And I'm Raymond Pennie. I'm back in the UK, and it's been cold. So I have opinions about the fact it's cold and everything else.
Raymond has 3 layers on: a mock turtleneck, a button-down or polo, and then a quarter zip. He looks pretty chilly. I'm out here in South Florida, and it is pouring, and I was kind of chilly this morning, so I did have a long sleeve t-shirt on because it was like 67 Fahrenheit when I woke up. I don't know what that is in Celsius. Raymond could tell us,
Yeah,
or it could just
a lot,
keep
a
moving
lot,
on here.
a lot more than we've got.
A lot more than what it is in London. All right, guys. So Mr. Pennie and I are going to speak about we actually pivoted topics because we thought this one was more compelling for y'all. Reskilling, upskilling, and what that all means for AI. Raymond and I, well, Raymond, where I was the last couple of years, we talked about AI a lot, coming out of 2023. Raymond was all about blockchain. I don't know if he's still doing anything with resumes and blockchain when it was that period of hype. And then he got on the AI hype train and he's building really cool apps for himself. I actually built myself a co-work app this morning, Raymond, to do some research for me. So that was fun. But let's talk about upskilling and reskilling your teams and this AI augmented workforce. And I think the biggest kind of jumping off point here for me is this fact that 92% of companies plan to increase AI spending. Only 1% say they've reached any form of AI maturity. And the number one barrier isn't the AI or the technology itself. It is the skills gap. And who is responsible for fixing that? Is it the head of technology? Is it the CHRO? Is it the CEO? Is it everybody? I'm going to go with everybody. Well, let's start there, Raymond. What are you thinking, and what are you seeing as you deliver AI solutions for staffing and recruiting companies?
I've been quoted before as saying that an AI project, if it's treated like an IT project, will fail.
Okay.
Equally, I've been not quoted, but I might be quoted now, is to say that if it was a completely HR item, then equally it would fail. If it's not of interest to your CEO and genuinely of interest to your CEO, not because the board said, hey, you should do AI. Why aren't we saving money with AI? Then that's got a chance. And even when CEO Raymond is all over it, down, the ability to cascade something in a way that can be used, can be understood, is a long road. And some people take it really quickly. And I think we've probably got a normal distribution curve of how people adopt. And this one is maybe slightly sharper. You know how the normal distribution is like whatever it is, 5% at each end, 2 standard deviations away. I think the standard deviations are maybe slightly tighter, but the peak is very high of people who go, hey, I tried it last year and it didn't work.
It changes so rapidly, right?
This week I've been all over Claude and all over Claude design, and I get stunned every now and again. But I've been doing dev and UIs and system diagrams in Claude design, and it is unreal.
There's no reason, like they were like, all the articles and all the social media hubs was like, Claude's coming for Figma. And I'm like, yeah, why not? Might as well put it all in one place. So interesting that you're doing all that. So I agree. I think we've actually said this before. If your leadership team does not buy into the technology and use it themselves, it is very unlikely that everybody else is going to use it.
Yeah.
I will say this though, even though projects are failing, like large deployments, like your workforce, if you're Raymond the leader, Rob the leader, your workforce is using AI. They are much more likely to be using generative AI, even if you don't know that they're doing it. And even if you don't have a closed environment for them to use it. So
agreed.
They're using it. And there is no if and buts about that. They are using it every day, probably multiple times a day, just running through credits of their own, just because of the efficacy and the efficiency that they gain. So don't be unrealistic and think that they're not using it just because you're not providing it. Right? We always said you need to have them trained and you need to have them you need to have a compliance, right? Like a code of conduct on AI and what you can and cannot
Yeah.
do. So make sure you have that at the very least. And then what I think was interesting that I was reading about was we were doing the research for this. It says employees are 3x more likely than leaders to using generative AI in at least 30% of their daily work, while 92% of companies plan to increase AI spending in the next 3 years. Only 1% again report AI maturity. So the gap between investment and readiness is real. The last part, not important. I think the big thing is they're 3x more likely to be using AI than their leaders, which goes into another fact that I was reading is that a lot of upskilling needs to go to the leadership first.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. No. Sorry. I do understand it, but it's unlikely Raymond as a leader knows how to do all of the tasks that the team are doing. So I can, the ones that attract me, but they may not be the ones that actually give either productivity or help people in their day to day. And equally, I realize as a leader, I'm probably not giving people time in their day to day to go and be curious about how it can help. And I think that therefore there's a need to give in order to get. And that time offer or the training, I think I worry about training because by the time the training course is run and designed and advertised and attended, it's 2 months out of date. And
It's fast. I mean, you have
yeah,
to be like running full speed here, or you're falling behind.
yeah, yeah. And even just the fact that there are agents can be written. Agents used to be really difficult to write,
Yeah.
really, really difficult to write, and now they're not.
Well,
And
I mean, yeah.
now agents are appearing in lots of different places, and that starts to change the definition. And where you spoke about guardrails and how do you allow the flexibility and the curiosity to go and pry with the guardrails of, hey, where does the data go and how does it stay? And I think that's something that every IT department, every registered SOC 2 business needs to be all over. And anyone who has an agreement with customers who say, hey, we'll look after your data, da 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 da, it's all good if you knew where it was. But equally, it's in a spreadsheet. It's in somebody's private email. It's on their mobile phone. It's on their messenger app. So it's probably not a higher risk, but it could become a much quicker risk.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. The speed of risk obviously is increased as the speed of AI is increased. And, if AI is making the average person smarter, being able to do things more efficiently, then it's definitely letting hackers do things more efficiently.
Yeah.
Or,
Well,
the black hats.
Mythos. Yeah. Mythos
Yeah.
will be
Someone
out
hacked,
there.
they said that, there was an article on one of the newsletters that said like a Discord server team hacked into it and took it. It's
Yeah.
like, that's not good. Guys, what are we doing? Raymond, this is not what I want. I don't want to take the conversation this way, but I always had this moment when I was teaching high school where I said, I know it's like fun to think about like all the things that we can do and like we can move towards it and
Yeah.
do
What
those
you
things,
should
but
do.
sometimes it's important to be like, do we really need to do that? Or do we need
Yeah.
access to that? I think I was reading Jurassic Park and we were talking about Jurassic Park, the book. And I'm like, do we really need dinosaurs back? Like, I'm sure we can do it, but like no one needs to see a Tyrannosaurus Rex in real life. Like just kind of playing off that
In
idea
your
of like,
garden.
we can totally do it. That's cool. But like, should we, and do we need to? And is that going to actually improve things here? Sometimes it's not. Anyway, I don't want to take too far down the road, but do we really need access to Mythos if they're telling us we don't? Like, I'm
Yeah.
happy not to have access, nor am I happy for anyone to have access. Like, just turn it off. Anyway.
I think that since last week, there's another thing that's happened that potentially changes your point of view here. I can't remember if we spoke about Salesforce Headless last week.
No.
So Salesforce, for those that are listening, hi. The Salesforce put out a new license agreement whereby you don't need to have the UI. Now, you probably do need to have the UI. You may have 10 people, you may have 3 people use the AI and 7 people who are agents that don't use the AI, but you're still using the data at some point. And they've called it Salesforce Headless. So, yeah, I'm probably
I mean,
going to
that's we've been
steal
talking about
steal
that.
that terminology. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like that. And that makes sense, right? The agents don't actually need to go look at the UI. So
Yeah,
interesting. I like that they're being proactive about this. And you are going to need people who have access to an
definitely.
easy to use platform. So like there's definitely like value in a HubSpot UI or a Salesforce UI or whatever that might be.
I don't log into HubSpot dashboards anymore.
No, because you have
I,
everything in Claude.
I have Claude, who's now written a live artifact that updates 3, 4 times a day or an event, and it stays up to date and it's in one place. Claude is becoming Google for me.
That is
I'm
Google
oftener
for
in,
you.
I'm oftener in Claude than I am in Google.
You're definitely not using Google anymore. I don't understand why you, well, like, it's not becoming Google. It is Google for you.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair. That's fair.
and
And
it's interesting.
other LLMs exist, and obviously you can decide to choose whatever. And maybe if I was in an IT department, I would balance the difference between the best models and the ones that I could house myself, and therefore have people who can use them more safely.
So all I hear is that Raymond is a Claude stand. So that's good.
Yeah,
And maybe Raymond, that we need to have you do like an AI workshop for leadership.
I in my newsletter, my Friday newsletter, Raymond's 5 Point Friday, available in all good Substacks. Uh, he, I offered it out. I offered it out to 3 people like 4 weeks ago, and the 3 people I did it with, one was the chief exec of a recruiting business, and he knew about it, but he wasn't a great user. But we've moved on together, and one of the other guys had his own open claw, and we just geeked out. And he was head of ops, and he was running his own open claw. And then the third guy was slightly more defensive. He was more like IT security. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You can have your own choices. But there's such a variety. And I would, hey, anyone's listening wants to chat, hear about things, get in touch similarly with Rob. But if we come back to where we were, the the how you enable your team to do things is like any other form of training. If you were to migrate from one CRM to another, and you would do training, and you wouldn't do one set of training, you wouldn't go, hey, switch it on, thanks very much, go. It would be a continuous build up training.
Multiple trainings, office hours for like people to pop
Absolutely.
in. We could do Raymond Pennie office hours if you want to give us some time, once a week.
Well, I do once a month with the team. I do AI office hours, and they got to the point where they go, "Can you speak about something else?" I'm like, okay,
I could see it.
but look at
You do
this,
get
look
a
at
bit
this, look at this.
obsessive. You get a little overzealous about these things.
Yeah,
You were so gung ho about crypto when I was in Orkney the first time.
and I still am,
I know.
but I know when to be quiet.
All right. Okay. So kind of just rounding out this idea
Yeah,
of upskilling and reskilling, you should be training people.
yeah,
You need to be invested if you're the CEO, maybe not as
yes.
invested as Raymond. That's okay.
No, go
Uh,
for it.
and that who like even if like your head of tech or your head of operations or your HR person is running it, your CEO needs to be paying attention to it and attending and being curious. I think that word is great. And that's the big word for the year. And yeah, I'm going to link a few of these articles. Like
Yeah, I think they're good
I did want
ones.
to mention that HBR, so Harvard Business Review, has like a playbook. I don't have a membership, but I'll link it in the show notes on Spotify and YouTube. So they have a what was it called? Let me see. Let me find this note. Assessing your talent needs in the age of AI. So HBR Executive Playbook offering guidance on scenario planning to understand where AI will have the most impact, how to focus on skills as the unit of talent planning, and how to get past common hurdles in upskilling your people. I didn't look at it because but it's maybe a good framework if you have an HBR subscription already. If
And I
not,
would be
maybe
controversial and say, hey, by the time somebody wrote it, submitted it, approved it, published it, it's
when's it
probably out of
from?
date.
It's from it's from May of last year, so probably out of date. But it's not a bad
It's out
place
of
to
date.
start.
But
We'll figure it out.
the framework will be excellent.
Yeah, like the technologies they're using are probably not great.
Yeah.
So or out of date, that they're great. Anyway, um, Raymond, I have to ask you on live now because you mentioned your 5 Point Friday. have you advertised the podcast and asked people to subscribe on the 5-Point Friday?
I have referenced what I've discussed on 5-Point Friday on it with links to it.
To the podcast?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't do the, hey, subscribe and submit and like.
I mean, you have to do that, Raymond. That's the worst. This is like the worst part of podcasting. It's just if people don't, you don't tell them, they don't do it. So with that said, we're going to wrap up here. Guys, if you learned anything, if this was valuable at all, make sure you subscribe and like. Raymond won't say it, but I will. And, again, as long as you keep subscribing and listening and learning, we are doing great. Send us feedback, drop a comment wherever you are. And thank you, Mr. Pennie.
It's always a pleasure, Mr. Mann.
Thank you for tuning into R Cubed, where Rob and Raymond talk recruitment, AI automation, same stuff, training. If you found anything of use in this episode, if you learned something, if we made you think, if you're going to bring something back to your team, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. We appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy. Cheers.